Clio here and welcome to my channel, and today I am diving into another reading vlog. So this is the third week of June. We are starting the third week of Olympic Games readathon and Make Your Mythtaker readathon. I have already become the goddess that I wanted to be. I'm currently working on some extra skills, so I have already worked on mercenary skills by reading the Poppy War, but I am still continuing with some further skills. For Olympic Games readathon I am Camp Zeus, and for this week my goal is to finish the basic prompts for the readathon. So I discovered something earlier today. My prompt for Camp Zeus is a book with a tree on it. This looks like a book with a tree on it, but it's actually a volcano erupting. So I'm kind of wanting to count it because it does look like a tree still, but maybe, I don't know yet whether I'm going to count it. I don't know whether I'm going to, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with this book now, so I'm going to sit on it a little bit longer, but originally this wasn't planned for this week. I don't know yet whether I'm going to continue. But so for the rest for this week, my goals are to read my book with a king, which is King Lear by William Shakespeare, and then my longest book on my TBR, which is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. So this is not exactly the longest book on my shelves, but for this month I wanted to read all recent purchases, and so Kingdom of Copper is the biggest recently acquired book, so yeah, going into this one. I finished City of Brass last week, absolutely adored it. Empire of Gold just came out, and so I'm very happy to be reading Kingdom of Copper, and then in July I will be going through Empire of Gold. But so for this week there isn't much excitement happening, but I am participating in a live show on Saturday. We will be debating critical reading versus reading for enjoyment. It'll be my first live show, so I'm not super anxious anymore at this point. The first second that I said yes, I was like, oh. I was also somewhat debating doing it, but I'm somebody who's always like hesitant going into it, and so I always try to tell myself like, no, do it, you know, it's going to be so much fun and you're going to regret not doing it. So I'm very much looking forward to that on Saturday. And the rest of the week I'll just be working, reading in the evening, and I hope to be doing some editing as well, because I haven't edited any of the two other weekly vlogs that I've now filmed, so yeah, good on me. Alright, so it's Wednesday. I've done almost no reading. I have, my goal for these last 3 weeks of the month was to read 150 pages per workday and then 250 per weekend day. And currently I've read 30 pages over the first 2 days, so yeah, it's looking more and more like I'm not going to finish this TBR. I mean, it was clearly ambitious from the beginning for me, so it's not like it's a huge surprise, but still, like, I was kind of hoping to be able to do it, so I'm not giving up yet, but it's looking very unlikely that I'm going to finish. But so last time I updated you guys, I was thinking about starting Kingdom of Copper instead, but and I just really wasn't in a reading mood on Monday. I edited my previous week vlog for the first week of June, so and then yesterday I got a reply from Olympic Games readathon saying that it happens, so I've started The Year Without Summer. So I don't know whether I talked about this book in the last update, so I'll do it now and I'll cut it out if it's double. But so The Year Without Summer is a book about 1816, and this is the year after a volcano erupted in Indonesia, and it's going to look at the ramifications of that event on 6 people. I think it's 6 people. 6 lives, yes, on 6 people. Some of them, like one of them is a guy who first, you know, one of them is an explorer in Indonesia, but I think almost all of the other ones are living in Europe, and so it's very much on the impact that that event apparently had on Europe. One of the people we are following is Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, so Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. This is also the reason why I was introduced to this book, because in September, I think, I went to a lecture about a book by Jonathan Safran Foer, and the professor who introduced Jonathan Safran Foer told the anecdote about how the idea for Frankenstein originated in 1816, which was a very dark year in European history apparently, because and I don't mean that literally, so apparently it was a very dark year, it was very dark skies, gloomy weather and stuff like that, and apparently that was a result of the volcano eruption that happened in Indonesia the year before. And so in that gloomy atmosphere, Mary Shelley went to Switzerland with her husband, with Lord Byron and with some other friends of theirs, and they basically had this sort of, maybe not official, but they had this sort of competition to create a horror story or a scary story, and that's how that's where the idea for Frankenstein originated. But so we're looking at multiple people. I haven't been introduced to all of them yet because, as I said, I've only gone like 30 pages into the whole of this. So yeah, that'll be it for my update today. I'm going to be trying to read quite a lot of this at this point. I still have leftover Chinese from when I ordered, because I ordered way too much. Yeah, are you coming? Yeah. Hey. So we have a guest star now. This is Fate, by the way, in case you haven't been introduced to her. Buffy is currently here. You can see her tail from time to time. So I'll also include some footage from them in this week's vlog. Turning out to be a totally unsuccessful reading vlog because it is Saturday. I have zero idea about when I last... Am I in focus? Yeah. I hate checking focus. I'm so bad at it because I cannot see properly from this distance. I think I'm in focus. So I don't know when I last updated you guys, because very much possibly be Tuesday. I didn't do a whole lot more reading since then. I am still on the year without summer. But so I really have hit a little bit of a slump at this point in the month, I guess. I'm hoping to power through it. So I did like read close to 80 pages yesterday, which is not the 150 pages a day that I'm aiming for, but it's already so much better than the previous days. So I am about midway in this book at this point. So I am 205 pages into it. It is like 380 pages or something like that long. No, 390 pages long, so just over the halfway point. I am hoping to read a little bit today in it, but I don't have a lot of reading time today neither. So I am going to be participating in a live show, my first live show ever, very soon. So my plan is to get like an hour of reading in at this point. It's going to be a little bit less than an hour at this point because it's like, yeah, I'm already updating you guys at this point, and I think it's going to be like 50 minutes at this point. But my plan is to read for the rest of this hour, then prepare some lunch because we are having a live show at 12, so I do want to make some lunch first. I'm going to try my hand at quesadillas. And then I'll do the live show, and right after I think I'll have to leave because I am meeting friends for the first time in 3 months, I guess. So yeah, we have Since last week we are allowed a bubble of 10 persons a week. So this week I am meeting up with my friends and we are seeing each other again for the first time in forever. So I am planning, I am foreseeing that to be a long time. You know, we are meeting up starting 2 p.m. I might not be there at 2 p.m. because I have the live show first, but we are meeting up at 2 p.m. We haven't necessarily decided to meet up for the entire day, but I mean, it's going to end that way. I'm sure that we'll have dinner together eventually, maybe even last through the night a little bit. So I am planning that this 50 minutes that I'm reading now is going to be the only reading I have. So I'm not going to be continuing a lot into it. Time to enjoy my quesadillas. So I actually think they turned out pretty well. In case you were wondering about the color, in case you saw that, this is whole wheat tortillas. So I use whole wheat tortillas, and I actually already ate one of the slices, as you can probably tell, and I'm liking it. I'm very happy with how they turned out. But so yeah, I have actually quite some time left because it is super easy to make quesadillas. I didn't realize how fast of a meal this is. If it were any healthier, I could actually make it all the time, but yeah, it is still melted cheese, so I mean, it's not lunch for every single day, but yeah, I'm really going to enjoy these. So much for me promising a lot of updates today. So we are like 4 o'clock, I guess, on Sunday at this point. So I had a lovely time yesterday in the live show. We went like over 2 hours of talking about not always critical reading versus enjoyment reading. We did kind of like digress at times, but it was a very interesting discussion, so I will definitely link that video down below if you want to check it out. And I had a great time, friends. Afterwards, we really stayed up for a lot longer than we were planning to originally, but yeah, I mean, I'd already foreseen that. It was the first time we saw each other in like 4 months or something like that, and so yeah, we had a lot of catching up to do. But so yeah, today I have been spending my time finishing this one. So this is The Year Without Summer by Guinevere Glasfurd. So I think I said at the beginning that I was reading this for Olympic Games book with a tree on it, which is not a tree. But I also read it for Make Your Mythtaker, because for my character, so I already became a goddess. So I'm the goddess Clio, who's the muse of history. But I also want to hone some extra skills. So I already honed my skill of being a mercenary, and now I'm honing my skill of being a spy by reading an underrated book. This book has 118 ratings or something like that on Goodreads. So definitely underrated, underhyped. And so my thoughts on this, I gave it like a 3.5 star rating. I don't think there's too much necessarily wrong with it. There was just a little bit of a disconnect, and that's the reason why I'm just giving it a 3.5 star rating. So this is a book in which we are following 6 different characters, and they do not interconnect. They are very much separate character arcs, so that it leads it to be vulnerable to some of the criticism that surrounds short story collections, and that is that one short story is often better than the other, that you might want to give certain short stories 5-star rating and others you might want to give a 2-star rating, for example. So while it's not really a short story collection, it does have that same element to it where you connect more to certain storylines than to others, and that's very much a personal thing, I believe. I have seen most people mainly connect to the storyline of Mary Shelley and to the storyline of Sarah. I personally believe that I was most intrigued by the storyline of Mary Shelley, but I do feel like I was somewhat let down with Mary Shelley's storyline, with it not going as far as I might have wanted it to go. I did definitely enjoy Sarah's perspective very much, and for me personally, the perspective of Henry, who is like the first person account of the events taking place on the Sumbawa Island itself, definitely intrigued me a lot as well, because I have a fascination for volcanoes and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think it's very fascinating to look at the description of a volcano eruption and the harrowing scenes that we are getting to see through his perspective. This is actually a debut novel, so I definitely think it's a good quality for a debut novel, and will definitely be on the lookout for more of her works. What I also thought to be something that really drew my attention is that she brings a lot of life to secondary characters or tertiary characters as well. You know, a lot of the there are very few characters in this that just felt like they were there for the plot for me, you know. A lot of them maybe only have like a line in appearing in the novel or anything like that, but I still felt like there was a distinct character to them, a distinct personality. There definitely was real life in these characters. These were very much full characters, even if they had a very short amount of text on the page. And that definitely led into a very vivid world, a very real world for us to explore. But so at this point I'm going to be continuing, I'm going to be picking up Kingdom of Copper. I was kind of debating whether I wanted to maybe put in a quick read now so that I can get another book finished and feel more like accomplished about my reading month so far, but I'm going the exactly opposite round, so I'm going to continue the way I am, which means that I now have to tackle the longest book on my TBR, so 609 pages, but I mean, I do definitely think that I'm going to be flying through those as much as I can say that I can fly through a book in a work week. So I'm hoping to be able to get to at least like 100 pages still today in Kingdom of Copper, hopefully more than that, and then I can hopefully get this one done like at least before the work week is over, but hopefully like on Thursday or something like that, so that I can still have a couple of the shorter ones done next weekends. But so yeah, let me go and grab my next read. It is currently like 8:30 or something, so I'm definitely going to continue on for the rest of the evening. I am 100 pages into Kingdom of Copper at this point, so I wanted to give a little bit of an update, and then tomorrow, most likely after work, I will give a final update, and we'll also jump into the next reading vlog at that point. But so I am 100 pages into Kingdom of Copper, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my experiences without going into any spoilers, because this is a sequel, of course. So City of Brass is a Middle Eastern inspired fantasy series that plays heavily on the sort of traditional elements of jinn. So the jinn, or as we know it from like the story of the movie of Aladdin, the genie, it plays a big part in this series, but it's very much a series about political intrigue as well, because there are many factions to this jinn society, and it's very much looking at power dynamics between these factions. And into this world comes our main character, Nadi. She turns out to be a descendant from a thought to be extinct jinn tribe, and she is kind of pushed into the jinn world and has to deal with power dynamics there, and the fact that she is very much considered an important player but doesn't necessarily know how the board is set. So I very much enjoyed the first one. I gave it a 5-star rating. I am going to say that the beginning of this book somewhat annoys me because at the end of City of Brass we are leaving things in somewhat precarious situations. And at the beginning of this book we start off with a way too long prologue. A prologue shouldn't be that long or shouldn't involve that many aspects in my opinion. And then we have a time jump, a 5-year time jump. And I overall don't really like time jumps in my books in general, but I definitely don't like the way that this time jump worked, because I feel like we are, this is very much a time jump for convenience. It's very much like we are getting at difficult parts in these people's lives, and rather than diving into it, rather than exploring these fresh emotions as they are at that point, we are moving ahead 5 years in time, and so we are landing our characters in a whole new situation without exploring what happened there before. And I'm sure that we're going to be exploring that a little bit through flashbacks and stuff like that, or through reflection about how their time has gone. That has already happened at this point in the book, but I'm not entirely sold on this time jump. I'll have to go further into the book to see whether I'm allowing this time jump or not, but at this point I'm like, nah, I don't think it's like, I think it's a little bit of lazy writing, a little bit of convenience writing. So yeah, I'm 100 pages books, nice sentence. I am 100 pages into this book at this point. I'm definitely hoping to be able to get to the 150 page mark today, and then continue on at that pace, hopefully for the rest of the week, and then on Thursday I will be able to finish this one and move on to the next book. Normally, I guess I hinted at this already before, normally I would have already finished this if I had followed my regular pacing, and this is going to be the worst reading week for this month, but I am recovering my reading pace now, so I'm happy that it's not become like a huge slump that I'm having difficulties getting out of. But I assumed already in advance that The Year Without Summer was going to take me a little bit longer, just because it's literary fiction. It doesn't necessarily have a strong plot point to drive it forwards. And so I was prepared for that taking a little bit longer. It just took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm hoping to recover some pace now, and then hopefully salvage some of the reads that I still want to get to this month. So, rounding off this reading vlog. So this week I finished one book, so a little bit less of an achievement than some of the other weeks, I think. So I finished The Year Without Summer by Guinevere Glasfurd, gave it 3.5 stars, enjoyed it, but it didn't blow me away. I started Kingdom of Copper on Sunday and was able to get 148 pages into it. Enjoying it so far, as I think I said already in an earlier clip. I don't particularly like the fact that there's a time jump in the beginning of this book, because I kind of find that to be a little bit of lazy writing, but apart from that, I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm eager to get through this one this week. So yeah, that's it for my update for this reading vlog, and you will find out more about my reading in the next one. So yeah, hopefully you will tune in for the next one, and until then, happy reading, enjoy the month of July, maybe even by the time that I update this.